Okay. So
Sanitizing wise.
this is perfect.
Yeah.
This is where Randy will be okay.
Okay.
So get comfortable, everybody. At home, make sure you have a strap. It is Tuesday, the 23rd of February. Our second day back from the coldest week in maybe ever. Here, anyway.
Yeah, the way it felt.
Yeah.
If it wasn't, it was close.
70 degrees today at minus whatever it was last week.
It's
So
about an 80-degree change.
we're glad to be here though. So if you need blankets to sit on, grab blankets and make sure you have everything handy there by you if you're at home. And everybody here, if you want to sit cross-legged, do. If you'd rather stretch your legs out, you know, sit in a chair if you'd rather. If you're at home, just get comfortable and let your eyes close gently, starting to lengthen up through the top of your head. And just move your hands around a little bit to find a comfortable place to rest your hands so your shoulders feel nice and released, and yet you feel open across your chest and your upper back. And accept your breath now, in and out through your nose. See if you can gently start to direct your breath into your belly as you inhale. And without forcing your breath, if you're comfortable to come towards those three-part breaths, you can inhale into your belly, into your ribs, and then all the way up into your chest. Next exhale, lean just a little bit forward, not a really deep forward bend, just a little bit forward, keeping a nice long back. And then just shift over towards your left. You can put your left hand on the floor if you're on the floor, right hand right there above your right knee. And just pressing a little bit away from yourself, just to find a little more through your sideways here. And then shift on back through center. We're going to go right away to the other side. So coming over into a little bit of a side stretch. And again, letting yourself open up a little more through the left side of the body. And then we'll come on back into center. Let's rise up, bring our hands behind us, clasp your hands back here. Let yourself lengthen up again. Feel your tailbone reaching downward, but not curling forward, remember. And then when you inhale, let the arms come a little bit away from off your back, right? And when you exhale, let the hands come right back down. So the inhales bring the arms a little away from you, and the exhales bring them back down. And then the inhale again, bringing the arms away. And on the exhale, bringing them back down. And then let's release our arms on out beside us. And inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And then we'll reverse and inhale the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, opening the arms on back out and down. And shake out your hands just a little bit. We're going to switch legs. It's a good thing that's not thunder, isn't it?
Right.
Remember construction going on? No more storms. So it's just... yeah, it's really loud though. So come on forward a little bit again on this side if you crossed your legs. And even if you didn't, we're going to come forward again a little bit. And then shift over to your left again. Use your right hand just to encourage that right knee a little more away from you. Just let yourself release there. And then we'll come back through center and we're going to go to the other side. So again, just use what you can here to help yourself find a little more in your side waist. And then we'll come on back here into center. And then we're going to rise all the way on back up again, releasing the arms out beside us. Let's inhale our right arm all the way out and up overhead, and then just bend your elbow. Let your hand come wherever it needs to, right? Now, if you want to bring your left arm up and over the top and hold on to your elbow there, you can. You don't need to. If your shoulder bothers you, don't do it. Let yourself just release there through your tricep of that right arm. And then we're going to stretch both arms out, up overhead. Let your pinkies turn towards each other. Let your shoulders soften down. And then go ahead and bend your left elbow. You can put your right hand down if you want. Let yourself stay there, or bring the right arm over the top. Hold on to your left elbow if that feels good. You know, that's totally optional. Be where you can. And then we're going to release and bring both arms on down again beside us. Let's clasp our hands again behind us. And now come on forward a little bit. Flex your feet. If you're cross-legged, flex your feet and press into the outside edges of your feet on the ground. You can come just a little ways. I mean, some of you might want to lay farther forward over your legs. If your back allows you to do that, go right ahead. If you want to reach your arms again away from your back once you're forward, you can. If it feels okay in your shoulders. And then we'll rise on back up, release our arms on out beside us. Take a nice inhale here. And on the exhale, let's twist to our left. Bring your right hand around towards your left knee. Let yourself lengthen up through the top of your head. One more inhale. And on the exhale, move on back through center and all the way into the other direction. Lengthening up. Feel your sitting bones drawing down. One more inhale. Let your exhale bring you all the way back into center. And let's stretch our legs out from here and move through our feet and our ankles a little bit. So just circle. Let yourself feel your feet, your ankles. Move through, flexing and pointing a little bit too, if that helps. Shake out if you want to. We're going to come on around towards our hands and knees. So you know, if you don't want to be on your knees, don't be. Feel free to grab a blanket to put underneath your knees, a blanket for under your hands if you'd rather. Come onto your fists if that feels even better to you. Just be mindful. Let yourself release here. Wag your tail a little bit. Let your body, your torso respond however it wants. Once you shift your hips a little bit side to side. And then when you're ready, come on back to center. Look down between your hands. Find neutral spine. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, we'll draw up into our cat pose. Tailbone dropping down. Press equally into your hands and press into the top of the feet if you can. And on your next inhale, send your tailbone back and up and move your way back through into either neutral spine or moving into your cow. And then start to just move through those poses with your breath. So your cat-cows can be held, you know, and you stay a couple of breaths without moving. You can continuously flow through if that feels better. See if you can close your eyes and really just connect to what your own spine feels like, right? You can even imagine what your spine looks like as you move through, flowing through the back. Good. Let's finish off the one we're on. And come back to a more neutral spine now, looking between our hands, and send our right foot back behind us on the floor. Curl your toes under, press into the heel, engage your belly a little bit, zip up your low belly. Really enjoy opening up the back of the leg. And then float the foot up off the floor a little bit. If you want to add the left arm coming forward, coming into a little balance, you can. It's not necessary. And then we'll lower the hand, the foot, the knee back down. We're going to switch. Send the left foot back. Keep the toes on the floor, curled under. Press into the back Open up into the back of the leg, press into the inner heel. Let it feel really good. Now engage your belly. And then start to float that leg up more parallel to the floor. You're welcome to release your right arm forward if you choose. Don't have to. And then we'll bring hand down, bring the knee back down, and let's shift back towards pose of a child. You don't have to go all the way. If you need to stay somewhat forward on your forearms, do. Just let your back release, your hips release. Let your arms soften so you don't feel tension in your shoulders. Breathe into your lower back a little bit here. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to come on back forward so we can bring our left foot forward and find a lunge here. So you know if you need your blocks, let yourself get whatever height you want to be with your hands. Bring that back right knee up off the floor. Come on into that lunge here now. Let yourself really feel your whole body here. So find the length of the back body. Press the feet gently away from each other. See if you can lift your left heel up off the floor. So you're there on the ball of the foot and feel your toes in the floor. Feel the quad engage a little deeper. And then lower that left heel on back down. And let's switch legs. So however you want to do that. Stepping forward or stepping back. Finding your lunge there. Again, thinking about your whole body. So engage. As you reach into that inner heel, find that engagement in the inside of the leg. Lift your right heel up, and again, try to just feel that sense of the quad engaged a little deeper. Press the feet a little away from each other like you're trying to make your mat longer with your feet. Put the heel on back down to the floor. And we're going to switch again. So finding your lunge here. Once you get into the lunge, you feel pretty good. Bring your left hand on up to your left hip and then onto your low back with the palm down and add a little twist there. Try not to drop into that right side. Try to stay fairly level in your hips. And then we'll bring that left hand on back down. We're going to switch legs again. So finding your alignment in your lunge. And then bringing your right hand on up to your hip and then palm down onto your low back, rolling that right shoulder up, coming into twist there. Good. And then we'll bring our right hand on back down. Let's step forward from here. Come on into standing forward bend. So you know, use whatever support you need. If your back feels iffy, find what you need to feel okay in your back. Bend your knees, rest your elbows above your knees, keep your spine lengthened out long. And of course, if you're fine to fold forward over your legs, letting the hands come to blocks or towards the floor, do. Remember, it's okay to have your knees bent. Think about your sitting bones being over your heels. And then just be with your breath now. Accepting your breaths in and out. One more nice full deep breath. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips. Bend our knees, press into our feet equally. We're going to rise up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Now let your chin come down. Look at your hands for a second. Separate your pointer fingers a little bit. And then let them slowly reconnect. So you really feel that connection there. And then same thing with your middle fingers. They come apart a little bit. And as you exhale, let them meet back in. And then open up again to the ring fingers, parting a little bit. And then they come back to connect, and then your pinky fingers a little bit apart. And then enjoy when they reconnect, and then your thumbs just a little bit. And then letting the thumbs come on back together. Spread your fingers now. Feel that connection through your hands, whatever part of your palms touch. And on your next inhale, bring your gaze on forward and out, coming into your mountain pose here now. So feeling stacked up, ankles over hips, shoulders over your hips. Hips over ankles and shoulders over your hips. And then just be mindful of what you're doing with your pelvis, right? Make sure you're not tucking your tailbone forward. Tailbone reaching down towards between your heels. And then from here, now interlace your fingers and squeeze your hands together. Really squeeze your palms together. Feel your biceps engaging. And then from there, start to let the elbows lift up. You're still interlaced in your hands. And then rotate your palms to face out away from your chest. And we're going to start to press out into the heels of the hands here, directly forward of your chest. Really try not to roll forward with your shoulders. Think about your chest is still kind of coming a little forward of the shoulders. Arms are drawing back into the shoulder socket there. And start to rise the arms up. Now, how high you go is up to you and your shoulders. Don't force it. Come as high as you can where you feel comfortable to be. And then we'll lean over a little bit to the left. Press up into the right heel of the right hand there. Now, if you want to shift your hips a little more to the right, you can. If that doesn't feel good, like in your knees or anywhere else, don't do it. Now, as we make our way back up to center, everything comes on back into line, and we're going to go the other way. So, letting yourself reach over. Again, if you want to shift your hips a little bit, you can. Breathing into that left side of the body. And then when you come back to center, get everything stacked back up again. And take a nice inhale. You might want to look up at your hands. And on the exhale, we're going to bend the knees and fold forward and come into standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long back wherever you want your hands to be. Your shins, your blocks, the floor. We'll step the right foot back and come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale, finding your downward facing dog pose. So first dog, be mindful. You know, do whatever you need to do. Walk, wag your tail, move around a little bit. If it feels good to move into your dog and kind of explore a little bit, do that, right? So you feel good in your shoulders. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Feel your elbows hugging towards each other. Let yourself feel really open in the back of your body. And on the next inhale, we'll come out towards a plank. Nice and strong plank. Engage your belly. Try not to drop down into your belly. And then to lower down, you can always put your knees down first. We'll come on down towards the ground. And we'll come into a little cobra. Now you can come into a little cobra where you're not pushing into your hands at all. Or you can come on up higher if you choose to. Coming into your back bend of choice here. And then we'll make our way back again to the ground. So we can come back to down dog. Back through hands and knees or back through a full push-up. Into your dog. Feel your hands equal on the mat so that you don't feel like you're rolling to the outside of your hands. Really feel your thumbs, your pinkies, your pointer fingers, your ring fingers, your middle fingers. And we'll bring the right foot forward. Now, you know, you can put your left knee down if you need to get that right foot forward into lunge. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Full deep breaths. Now, in order to do this next thing, you might want some support under your hands to be up a little higher. It's up to you. We're going to bring our right foot a little more to the midline and cross our left ankle in front. So our ankles are crossed and our feet are still toes facing the front edge of our mat, right? And you're trying to get your whole foot on the floor, that whole front left foot, right? It'll kind of roll a little bit. If your legs are really objecting to this, let your knees bend. You know, try to let yourself feel what's happening in the back of that right leg, the back leg, and the outside of it in particularly. And then just breathe. Again, if you need support, use it. If you need to let your knees bend a little more, do. One more breath. And then we're going to uncross, and we're going to switch and do the other side. So left foot comes a little more to the midline, so it's easy to cross that right ankle over in front. And then again, just let yourself allow what's happening in that back leg. So just bring your breath to where you need it. So if you feel yourself starting to kind of go, oh my gosh, that's just way too deep, try to bring your breath there where you need it. Again, bend your knees a little more if you need. Come up higher with your hands if you need. So you're just letting the pose do the work for you. Good. And then we're going to uncross, bring our feet right underneath us, hips distance apart and parallel again. Let your hands rise on up to your hips, bend your knees, come on up to standing. We'll inhale the arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, come on into a little chair pose here now. Sit back, bring your hands to your heart, let it feel good. Actually, put your hands down on your thighs for a second and turn your fingers in towards your inner thighs so your elbows are kind of reaching out. So you actually can go a little bit lower because you can support yourself a little with your arms here. Feel the tailbone reaching back. And then see if you can rise your arms up by your ears, turning the palms to face each other in your chair pose here. Really feeling strong in those legs. One more breath. And then bring your hands back to your thighs again. And now come into straighter legs and lengthen out your spine. Knees can still be bent, but find a nice long back. Good. And we're going to step the left foot back from here and come on into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. We'll let our inhale bring us out to the plank. Now stay in plank for a breath. And now we're going to go back to dog. So see if you can keep your feet where they are. Bring yourself back into your dog pose. Elbows hug inward. Now let's try that again. Come on out to plank. Nice and strong. And then come on back into your dog. Now once you're in dog, when you inhale, rise your heels up higher. And when you exhale, let them descend back down. And then one more time, inhaling, rising the heels up. Exhale, lowering them down. And on the next inhale, come out to your plank. And now from here, walk your plank a little bit. Bend one knee, and then straighten that leg back, and then the other. It doesn't matter whether the knee comes all the way to the floor, or maybe you just bend the knee a little bit. I like to go to the top of the foot and press into it as I walk to get into my feet a little bit. Finish off back in your full plank. We're going to lower down. Knees first if you need. Elbows right by the ribs. And let's come on into that cobra again. Again, it can be a small cobra. You can press into your hands and rise up higher. Elbows hug in towards the ribs, shoulders away from the ears. And then from here, we're going to make our way back into down dog. So take your time, coming back into your dog. Bring our left foot forward to find lunge. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. And go right to your breaths. Full deep breaths. Remember, imagining your inhales and exhales are equally important. Pay attention to your back. If it feels fine to hold your elbows, you can. And then we'll bring our hands back to our hips, rising up to standing, and inhale the arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Take a couple of breaths here in mountain pose. Get real centered. We're going to move with our breath now through a couple of sun salutations. So really let the breath be what leads you here. If you can, keep your focus on your breath. Releasing your arms down beside you. We'll inhale the arms all the way out and up. Let your exhale carry you forward. Let your next inhale lengthen your spine. Exhale, right foot back to lunge. And inhale, exhale into your down dog. Let your inhale bring you to plank. Your exhale will lower you down. Your inhale will bring you into your cobra, back bend of choice, and exhale back to down dog. Inhale, exhale right foot forward to lunge, and inhale, exhale to your standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising all the way up to the top. And on the exhale, folding forward. Inhale, find that long back. Exhale, left foot back to lunge. And inhale, exhale into your down dog. Let your inhale bring you to plank. And your exhale, lower you down. And inhale into your cobra. Exhale back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, left foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising to the top. Let your exhale bring you forward. Inhale, nice long back. We're going to come into down dog. So take your time. Find your down dog however you need. Walk a little bit. Good. And now from here, bring your left foot forward. And we're going to come on up, but we're going to actually turn to face the long side of our mat. Turn our feet more parallel, and then turn our toes out and come into a little goddess right here. So let your toes, remember, face towards the corners of your mat, but depending on you, you might have to turn them in more. You might want to turn them out more as you bend your knees. Bring your arms straight on out, bend your elbows to 90 degrees. Feel your tailbone dropping down. Remember, you don't want to tuck your tailbone up under you. You also don't want to let your ribs hyperextend forward, right? We're going to move a little bit. When you inhale, come up into straight legs and straighten your arms like you're the letter X. And when you exhale, come back into your goddess. Bend your knees and your elbows. So inhale, coming up into that X. And exhale, coming back down. And then one more time, inhaling, letting yourself reach up. And as you exhale, coming back to goddess, stay here for a second. See if you can lift your right heel up. And then let it come back down. Lift your left heel up. And let it come back down. If you feel really crazy, you can lift both heels up. And let them come back down. We're going to lower our arms down. Come into straighter legs now. And turn your right foot to where you're more parallel to the back edge of your mat. And your left foot for warrior two, toes face forward. So take your time here. Bring your hands behind you for a second. Really find your legs. Clasp your hands back there. Let yourself look down at your left knee. Let it feel really good. Be mindful of how that back leg feels. And then bring your gaze to look out over your left shoulder. And we're going to release our hands and float our arms on up and out. Reaching out through the fingertips. Shoulders softening down away from the ears. See if you can feel the feet pressing away from each other a little bit, like you're trying to lengthen your mat with your feet. Lift your left heel up again a little bit. Feel your quad, the outer left hip dropping down as well. And lower the heel down. We're going to turn the left palm up. And inhale, reach up towards the ceiling. Breathing into the left side in your reverse warrior. And on your next exhale, come on into your side angle. So your left hand or forearm can go down onto your thigh. You can bring that right arm up into line or not. That's up to you. Keeping the hand down is fine if your shoulder bothers you. Now if you can, press down into your forearm. Draw your outer left hip back. That lines up your knee. Enjoy the length through both sides of the body here. Beautiful. One more breath. We're going to come on back to warrior two. Press those feet away from each other as we go. And then we'll bring our hands down. We're going to turn our feet more parallel. And you grab your blocks if you need as we come on into our wide-legged forward bend. So you know if you have your blocks, you can be any height. Once you get your hands down, if bending a knee at a time feels good to you, do it. Just be mindful if your knees bother you, you know that. And then come on back in the center and now see if you can turn your toes out like when we were in goddess again. And bend a knee at a time from there. And some of you might want to, from there, go down really low. So if you feel like you want to bend your right knee and lift onto the heel of your left foot, lift your foot up, and even shift your hips down to come lower, you can. That's totally optional. You don't need to do that full deep into the leg and the hip there, but you can if you want. So you can shift side to side, you can lower your hips if you want to. Find a stretch that feels good to you. And then we'll come back to center. We're going to turn our toes again to try to get our feet more parallel. And now just make your way into finding that easy way to let your upper body release. So that depends on your back. If your back needs to stay long, you might want to stack your blocks up and have your forearms on the blocks so that your back doesn't round, right? And if you can, let your head hang. Letting yourself feel the weight of your head and feel the release through your face and your jaw, your throat. Beautiful. One more breath. And then we're going to walk ourselves out so we can walk back over to our left foot. Come on back into lunge. So find your lunge again. Really feel good in it. And then we'll come on back into downward facing dog pose. Walk a little bit if you want to the tops of your feet. And then it is optional what you do from here. If you want to come out for a plank and move through for a back bend, you can. Then you can come through chaturanga, bending your elbows, and then come up into your up dog or your cobra, or you can go from down dog to up dog through your plank if you choose, or you can do none of those, right? Put your knees down if you'd rather. Just be mindful. Take your time. Good. Well, let's go ahead and meet back in down dog. Walk a little bit, wag your tail around a little bit. And we're going to bring our right foot forward, and we're going to turn again towards that left side of our mat for a goddess. So now we're facing the other way. We've got ourselves into our toes turned out, knees right out over the center of our feet. Bring your arms on up and out, bend your elbows. Now don't go too deep for now. Think about being really solid from the waist down, and put your left hand down on your left thigh. Stretch your right arm up long, and come over into a side stretch to your left. So, you can go all the way down to forearm on your thigh, or you can keep your hand to give you support there. It doesn't matter how low you go. Trying to stay solid from the waist down. We're going to come back into goddess from here. And then we'll put our right hand on our right thigh, lift the left arm up overhead, and again, come on into that side stretch. And then we'll come back into goddess one more time. Now from here, straighten your legs and your arms into that letter X. And then lower your arms down. Turn your palms towards the floor for a second. Let your hands be a little higher than your shoulders. 5-pointed star. Reach out through the fingertips. Feel the top of the head. Try not to tuck your tailbone forward, right? Feel your tailbone reaching down. Beautiful. Lower the arms down. We're going to turn that left foot more parallel to the back edge of our mat. Right foot, toes are going to face forward, parallel to the long edge. Bring your hands behind you. Look down at your right knee there. Let yourself be lined up in the length of stance that you like. And then bring your gaze on over your right shoulder and start to reach your arms up and out. Into your warrior two arms, reaching out through the fingertips. Pressing the feet away from each other, lifting the right heel up. Feel the quad engage, but feel the outer right hip drop down. Let the right heel come on back down to the floor. And let's turn the right palm up. Inhale, reach up towards the sky. So big breath into the right ribs. And on your next exhale, come into that side angle. So your right hand or forearm on your thigh. If you can add that left arm up into line, don't force it. Now press into that forearm. Let yourself feel long through the underside of the body as well as through the left side of your body. Think about your head being in line with your spine. You can even turn to look up if you want. One more breath here. And we're going to come on back into Warrior Two. Press those feet away from each other to get right back into the core strength. And let's bring our hands down and turn our feet more parallel. And we're going to come forward. Again, into that wide-legged forward bend. Now this time, once you kind of get your stance established, how wide you want to be, walk your hands over towards the right, doesn't matter how far. See if you can take your time and be there. Stay with your breath. And then walk back through center and over towards the left. Again, only as far as you want to go. You might be on a block, just shift it, or you might walk to your foot. You might want to draw your torso towards that left leg. Good, and then we're going to come on back into center again. And now walk your hands way out like you're doing down dog. Let the knees bend a little bit. Let the hands be a little farther apart than you are in your down dog. And hug your elbows towards each other. Let your heart melt down. Good. And then walk your hands back to where you need to be for your wide-legged forward bend. If you need support, put your elbows above your knees if that's better. Use your blocks. Some of you might decide you'd rather put your hands between your feet or walk your hands back behind you. But again, now just let the breath come in and go out, following your breath with your awareness. One more breath. And then we're going to walk ourselves back out so we can go back to that right foot. Come on back into lunge. And we'll make our way back into down dog. So again, vinyasas, kriyas, or none of the above, right? Put your knees down and rest if you'd rather in your child's pose. Stay in your dog if you'd rather, right? So just be mindful. Let yourself feel where you need to be. Not anything you should be doing, but what really it feels good to your body to do today. Good, and then let's meet back in down dog. And we're going to bring our left foot forward for lunge. Now you might want to grab your block. Some of you might want to get a blanket because we're going to lower the right knee down onto the floor, right? So that's up to you. If you need a blanket under your knee, grab it. You don't have to shift so far forward. You can always be up more. If you can shift a little more forward, let yourself open up a little more through the front of that right hip too. And now see if you can, maybe even just bring your left forearm up to your thigh. Maybe both hands can come up to your thigh, yeah, giving yourself support. If you want to lift one arm up, you can lift your right arm up overhead. And if you want to lift both arms up, you can lift both arms up. Totally optional. Press gently into the top of the toes back there. We're going to bring our hands on back down. And then from here, we're going to add a little twist. So right hand's grounded. Bring your left hand to the outside of your left knee. And then just twist a little bit here. You're still down with that right knee. You're twisting to your left. You're feeling that openness through the front of the right hip. Good, and then come on back, bring your hands on back down. We're going to lift the back knee back up into lunge briefly. And then from here, we're going to straighten the front knee out and find pyramid. So most of us will have to shorten this stance to get that back heel down to the ground. Right heel is turned in a little bit. Remember, that right foot is turned out 20 to 30 degrees. Thighs are lifting up towards the hips. Lengthen out through both sides of the body. Now, of course, if it feels really good to fold over that front leg, feel free to do that. So if you feel coming over the leg is a big relief, go for it. Opening up the backs of the legs. Good. One more breath here. And now, come on back up parallel and have your blocks with you in case you want them. What we're going to do is walk around like we're going to wide angle. So you can have your blocks. It's kind of fun to use blocks. It feels like big feet. And then walk yourself all the way around into a lunge with your right leg in front. So you're turned around the other way. Good. Now from here, we're going to lower that back knee down to the floor. Again, if you need the blanket rearranged, do it. Press into the top of the foot. You don't have to shift your hips that far forward. Up to you. If you want to lift up, either your right forearm to your thigh may be enough, or both hands up. You might want both hands on your thighs. And if you want to lift your left arm up overhead, you can. All of this is optional. Staying with hands down, or both arms up, or hands down on the blocks. Take your time, opening up through the front of that left hip. We're going to bring our hands on back down towards the blocks of the floor. Right hand's going to come right above your outside of your right knee and turn into twist. Think about your left rib cage coming towards that right inner thigh. Just enjoy there. Good, and then come on back down with that hand. We're going to lift the back knee back up. Find your lunge again first. Now we're headed into pyramid pose. So we're going to rearrange. So get that stance now, just the way you need it, so that you have that back heel on the floor. Arches of both feet are lifting up. You can even try lifting all your toes up if you want. Elongate your torso out over that inner right leg. And now, of course, this bowing or folding forward is totally up to you, whether you want to do that or not. Good, one more breath. Now let your hands come on back out so you can lengthen out, and we're going to bend the front knee, find lunge, and from here we're going back into a downward facing dog pose. So final vinyasas, kind of cool, you guys can see each other this time, back in your dog, but you can move back through. Gives you a different viewpoint. You can move into some vinyasas or kriyas or not. You can stay in dog, you know that. You can do plank and then down dog, and then back to down dog too, you know, which will help really developing that core strength. Arms, shoulders, finish off the one you're on, meet back in down dog. Good, and from here, bend your knees really deeply, like your belly's coming onto your thighs. Hug your elbows towards each other. Glance up between your hands. Decide if you want to jump or walk your way forward. So bringing yourself towards the front of your mat, feet right underneath your hips. Let yourself take a couple of easy breaths. Good, and then we'll bring our hands up to our hips. Bend our knees. We're going to rise up and inhale our arms all the way out and up. Let your exhale bring your hands down together in front of your heart. You're looking a different direction. Enjoy. See if you can. Just enjoy feeling the space all around you. And isn't it amazing how just simply looking a different direction changes things? So one more breath. Let yourself just enjoy your quiet mountain pose. And then release down. Shake out a little bit. And we are going to bring our mats into a wall here now. We are on a roll. So get your blocks. It's kind of hard after lying around for a week in your house, isn't it? Especially with it being cold like it is. Well, not today so much, but like it has been. And I feel
like
Didn't
3
you
days
find
ago.
your body just tightening up
Yes.
that whole week? I did
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
I know as much as you say, well, it's warm in here, it's
I
not
know.
cold, it's still, you're just react. So, we're gonna play a little bit with Warrior 3 with our back foot to the wall. So, just be mindful, we'll put our right foot back first, and we're gonna try to stay a little bit long, okay? So have your blocks to the highest height, and bring your right foot back to the wall. So you gotta get the right distance to where that supporting foot is right underneath your hip, right? So you can tell when you have the foot too far forward. Or if you have the foot too far back, instead you want to feel your sitting bone right over your heel, right? So you got to get that right alignment. And then turn the toes of the right foot down. Look back at your right foot, and you can see the toes are facing down and that the heel is directly back from your sitting bone. And then look down between your blocks, bend your left knee just a little bit, and bring your left hand up to your thigh. So you're pretty solid here. It's pretty easy if you start to press into that foot on the wall. Now, if you can come into a straight or standing leg, don't force it. Press into that foot on the wall. And then let your left hand just drift up to your chest. And then see if you can reach that left arm forward. Now, if you can, come up a little higher on your block, maybe do a fist on your hand, and look a little forward more on the floor. And when you've had enough of that, bring your left hand to your left hip and start to turn to look to your left, coming into a twist here. Press into that foot on the wall. What fun, huh? You can stretch the left arm up if you want. And then we can put the hand back down. We're going to put the right foot down and right away put your left foot up because it's the biggest relief ever. So again, toes are facing down. Don't force it, and bend that right knee a little bit if you need. Find that alignment of the supporting leg under your hip. Good. And then start to press into that left foot. Bring the right hand up to your thigh. You can even kind of feel that you're supporting yourself there. And then let your right hand come to your chest. Easy. Don't forget to breathe. And then let your right arm reach forward. Maybe look a little foot forward more on the floor in front of you. And that's probably enough of that one. And then bring your right hand to your right hip and start to twist. Bringing yourself into that twist in the middle of your back. Hips stay level. Beautiful. You can stretch the right arm up if you want. Now that is a lot of work. And we're going to come down. And we're going to come into a squat of choice. You can go back to the wall and squat. Sit with your back to the wall. You can come with your elbows above your knees. Or you can come all the way down into a squat. Oh, that'll warm you up really fast. See, that's what we should have been doing at home that whole week.
My back was hot.
It popped your back. I love it when that pops my back. Okay. So from here, we're going to have a little more fun. I'm going to turn my mat now, but let's come down and let ourselves come onto our bellies. Let your feet be back towards the wall. And come down onto your belly and come into a little Sphinx pose. And let it feel like really easy, right? You're just going to open up here, let your back release, let the front body open up. Feels good. Good, and now just a little more. Add in your hands to come together, clasp. Send your pinky finger out. Now you can curl your toes under and lift into a full forearm plank, or you can leave your knees down and lift up into a half forearm plank. Elbows hug in towards each other. Now come down for a second. Release your arms down alongside your body. And on your next inhale, float into a little low locust. Not high. Just a little bit here, floating the legs and the arms up and the chest, the head. Good. And now come back onto your forearms again and let yourself either find that half plank or your full forearm plank again. Now, if you're in a full forearm plank, walk it a little bit. Bend one knee at a time. And then we'll come all the way down again. And we're going to, again, release arms down alongside you. Now, you can come into your locust again, or you can reach back and get hold of the top of your feet and press up into a bow pose. That's up to you. And then we're going to come down. And we're going to shift back towards child's pose. Now when you do, get your toes all the way to the wall. And then shift yourself as much as you can, hips towards your heels. And you can release, arms overhead. You know you're welcome to bring your arms back alongside your legs. You might even want to put your hands under your head, make a little pillow. Depends on how you feel. And I know with masks, sometimes when you're starting to breathe heavier, you feel like you need space. You can always get yourself supported a little bit so you feel a little more air. Okay, this next thing is totally optional. So if you feel like you want to do a little bit of inversion, coming into dolphin pose, you can come onto your forearms and lift up with your heels to the wall. And feel yourself pressing into your forearms, elbows hugging towards each other. Lifting a foot up the wall. If you choose to come up, do. Not necessary. You can just stay resting. You can bring both feet up the wall if you want. Not a lot of resting going on in here. Remember, when you do get ready to rest, and you can play with this however you want. If you want to turn around and work on your forearm stand, if you want to come into anything at all right now that helps you, go right ahead. If resting in child's pose feels better, do it. If resting with your head above your heart, sitting on your heels if you want, you can. Just take your time.
Too soft today. Not soft enough, I guess.
So coming down to rest when you're ready. Again, sitting or in child's pose. And from here, bringing yourself on around now, we are going to come down. But before you come down onto your mat on your back, grab both blocks and your strap. Oh, no, Randy, we need a strap. You just grab one. So, before you, actually, let's do this. Let's take our blocks onto our mat and put our feet on them. Lowest height. And then you can decide, you want your feet like you're going to be in bridge pose, which is what you're going to be in. So how far apart you have your feet is up to you. Parallel. And then when you lie down, whether you want to shift your hips closer to the block or not, you'll kind of know once you get up. So I like to let my heels hang off the end of the block a little bit. So it keeps my feet from slipping. But you can do whatever you want, whatever feels good. You don't even have to lift up from here if you don't want. If this feels good, you can stay right here. You can, I just popped my back too, Cindy. So if you do a couple little pelvic tilts, it can feel really good when your feet are up like this. But just let your back release just by lying on the floor like this for a couple more breaths. bring your arms down alongside you. Really hug in close with your arms. Bend your elbows. Let your palms face each other. And then let your hands separate more so that instead of the hands being right over the elbows, they're out farther away. And you can even roll your shoulders and elbows under more then. And then press into your feet and rise on up into your bridge. And if you feel like, I feel better off to be closer to or farther from the blocks when I lift up, then do that. Take your time. You can come up and then come back down and readjust. Enjoy pressing into the backs of your arms. If you want to stretch your arms down long once you're up, go for it. Or clasp your hands underneath you. Roll your shoulders under. Up on the blocks like this often makes that, if it's difficult when you normally do bridge, often when your feet are up like that, it makes that a lot easier to clasp your hands under you. And if you know this isn't working for you, don't do it. Come down. Move the blocks out of the way. When you're up high like that too, sometimes it just feels good to put your hands under your own low back or hips and hold yourself up a little bit. But again, all of that's optional. And if you feel like coming down, by all means, you just come on down, get out of it. Bring your knees to your chest. If you feel like you want to come up without being on the blocks, do it. Or if you want to play a little bit when you're up on the blocks, lifting a leg up if you're supporting your hips or something like that. Just be really playful. Let it be fun. Now, when you do make your way down, see if you can bring your knees in towards your chest and open the knees into a little bit of Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet towards each other. Letting the back release, letting the hips release. And you can hold your shins, your ankles, you can wrap your hands around your feet if that feels good. And now let your knees come on back towards each other as you put your feet down. Get your strap. Get your strap. And let's bring the strap onto the ball of our right foot. And take your time. Let yourself, if you can, see if you can, keep your left foot on the floor. And bring your hands to the ends of your strap. I hope all of you have 8-foot straps. Stretch your arms out long and down onto the floor, out from your shoulders. And your foot's up there, right? Now, if you can bring your arms up even higher, you can try that, which will actually kind of encourage your leg to come closer to you. You don't have to, but if you want to bring your arms up and do a wide V, you can. See how that feels? And if you're like, yeah, right, no way, don't do it. Good, take your time. Now, if you need to keep the right knee bent a little bit, do. And now, see if you can come into a straighter right leg. And you adjust how you're holding on the strap now, whatever feels good. And we'll slowly lengthen the left leg down long on the floor. Flex through that left foot. If you need to bend the right knee again, think about that right thigh coming towards the outer right ribs a little bit. You can just stay. Remember, you don't want to pull on this strap. You will feel a stretch at the back of your right leg, but you don't want to feel this intense stretch right at your sitting bone. Right? That's where your hamstring attaches. And you certainly do not want to pull that at all. So take your time. Keep a knee bend if you need to. Feel the weight of your arms. Let your shoulders relax. See if you can just close your eyes and breathe. And now, bring both ends of your strap into your right hand. Let your left hand rest on the top of your left hip. And we're going to open the leg to the right, maybe just a foot, maybe 12 or so inches. Maybe you want to keep on going towards the ground with that leg. Rotate that right heel up, stay grounded in your left hip. Press into the strap with the ball of the foot so that you feel that engagement as you're coming into this. Imagine you're standing up, right? You're standing on that left leg, all the strength involved here. And then we'll come on back up to the top with that leg. We're going to switch to bring the left hand over to hold the straps and then stretch your right arm out beside you. Go just about 12 inches to the left. Your right hip is still on the floor. And push your right foot back into the strap, but don't let the strap move, so you're resisting. There's your outer right hip that we found in that stretch where we crossed our ankles. And then you can decide if you want to keep going or not. Lower and lower with that leg towards the ground. It doesn't matter how close the leg is in towards your body either. And just breathe. If you want to turn to look to your right, you can, if that feels good. We're going to make our way back up to the top with that leg. Go ahead and soften the knee a little bit, and let's put our left foot up there and take our right foot out and put the right foot on the floor with the knee bent at first. Go ahead and bend your left knee a little bit. Decide how you're going to hold. If you like that, it's holding the ends of the strap for a second and letting your arms come out beside you, and maybe even straightening your leg up, maybe even bringing your arms higher overhead. That can be kind of fun or not. It depends. So really, easily find the way you want to hold your strap now so that when you lengthen that right leg long, you find what happens in your back, right? So your back changes as far as what is touching the ground when that leg lengthens. Your low back is in its natural curve. You've got that natural curve in your upper back. I mean, just enjoy. Let the body align itself really here. And just don't pull on your leg, but imagine the weight of your arms helping you release the back of your leg. Let your shoulders be soft. Close your eyes and breathe. Both ends of the strap into your left hand. Right hand on the top of your right hip as you open out to the left. Again, just be sure, just go as far as you want, keeping grounded in that right hip. Rotating that left heel so that it comes up a little bit and you're finding that outward hip rotation there. And press into the strap with the ball of the foot. And there you are, fully engaged, but finding this wonderful inner thigh lengthening. And then we're going to slowly come back to the top again with the leg. Switch hands. Right hand comes over to get the straps. Left arm stretches out. Come about 12 inches. And stop. And then imagine you're pushing your foot back into your strap, but your strap stays there. And you can enjoy that feeling as long as you want, or you can continue lowering the leg down more towards the ground. Again, maybe even looking to your left if you choose to. Just be mindful, let it feel good. Nice. And then slowly start to make your way back up with the leg. Bend the knee slightly when it gets up there. Take your strap on off, however you choose. let your knees come on into your chest, or maybe a happy baby pose. Maybe you want to revisit again your Baddha Konasana. If you need another kind of hip release, by all means do. We're starting to get some light, so we give ourselves time here to settle in. So, if you need another twist out of those very deep twists, you need your knees to go side to side or circle, take your time. I'm going to start to walk around here at the studio because I can bring things here. At home, you have to gather what you need. If you have a bolster, and you know you like a bolster going underneath your knees because it helps you to release your back, you can try that. Or if you don't have a bolster at home, you might want to roll up a couple of blankets and put them underneath your knees. Here at the studio, I'll be happy to bring blankets. We got pretty warm and the floor is not really warm, so if you want cover, I wash everything, let me know, even if it's just for your feet. And if you're at home, get comfortable. Let yourself enjoy feeling your back body on the ground. And if you need to wiggle your way into Shavasana a little bit, if you need to kind of move your arms or your legs around, if you need to let your head roll a little side to side, just be easy. And then just start to be at home with your breath. Accepting your breaths in and out. Giving your body and your brain time to find those little quiet places that you will find simply by returning to your breath and letting yourself completely and fully relax. gradually want to deepen. And just imagine sending your breath all through your body, all the way out to the tips of your fingers and your toes. Starting to feel re-energized enough to wiggle your fingers, your toes, your hands, your feet. And of course, moving up through your extremities however you need to move. Stretch if you need to stretch, or circle through your wrists, your ankles. You might want to let your head roll a little side to side. Just be easy as you come back to moving. You know you're welcome to roll to your side. If you're comfortable to roll onto either side, you can. Just giving yourself time to adjust back to being physical again. And when you do feel ready to rise up, just see if you can feel very much like you're floating your way up. So it feels easy. Let your eyes stay closed if you can. Get yourself comfortable too in how you're sitting, so you don't feel any stress in your hips, your legs. Sit up on a blanket if you need to. Stretch your legs long if that's better. But just enjoy being upright again with your head up above your heart. See if you can find that sense of lengthening upward through the top of your head, finding all that space in your spine. And on your next exhale, bring your hands gently to meet there in front of your chest. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Last Tuesday of